Alright, what's going on everybody? My name is Eli and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about the process of becoming a dentist in the United States. If you're a foreign trained dentist interested in any advanced standing programs or international programs at different dental schools in the United States, I have an advanced standing student here, Ofori Addo. He's a first year advanced standing student at Boston University. He's going to talk a little bit about his journey here, why he decided to come to Boston University specifically, and the process of becoming a dentist in the United States after going to dental school in a different country. You can go ahead and just introduce yourself first, and then we can get more into the details.
Yeah. What's up, guys? My name is Ofori Addo. He's already done the introduction. I don't know if there's any more that I want to add. Yeah, so I'm a first year advanced standing student at Boston University. I just started last year and I'm going to finish in 2026. This is a great link up. I've been wanting to be on this channel for a while.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been waiting to make a video like this because people ask all the time and I don't have the answers, especially when it comes to AS programs and stuff, and I've been waiting to make a video with someone and it just so happened that you wanted to do it, and hopefully I'll be of some help today, so let's see how it goes. We're going to start off talking a little bit about Ofori's origin, where he's from, where he originally went to dental school, and when he graduated. So just tell him a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up, when you graduated dental school, all that stuff. And you can even talk a little bit about the process of becoming a dentist in your home country.
All right. So I'm going to go back to when I started my journey from. So I'm from Ghana. I don't know if I already stated that. But so I started dental school in 2009. That's when I started dental school. So the program in Ghana is such that you do a 6-year, if you want to go to dental school, you just do a 6-year program. So you're going to go right after high school. So right after high school, you want to do dentistry, you just go straight into dentistry. And it's a straight 6-year program. Within that 6 years, really depending on the school that you go to, you're going to earn 2 sort of like bachelor degrees. So you're going to earn one in human biology, and then the next one is going to be your BDS, or what you guys call here DMD. So that's going to be the next one. So by the time you're done, you're going to get your bachelor's in human biology, and then you're going to get your BDS degrees. So typically after that, you're supposed to do like a 2-year sort of like an internship, if you would. So it's like a paid internship where like kind of similar to like AEGD or something. So that's where you really refine your skills under supervision. And after that, if you want to go into private practice, you go into private practice. So you're not really free until about 8 years of school, and then those 2 years that we call housemanship. Yeah, so I started in 2009. By 2015, I was done. I did the 2-year mandatory internship thingy, and then I finished somewhere around, I think it was like 2017 or so, and then I went into private practice for about 5 years.
In Ghana?
In Ghana, everything in Ghana. And it was after the 5 years that I moved to the United States.
Cool. Before we get into the rest of the video, I just want your thoughts on it. Like, how do you feel about that process compared to the process to become a dentist here for us? Like, for us, we go to high school, then we do 4 years of college, then we do 4 years of dental school, and then some people do the residency, some people don't. Do you feel like the way that they do it overseas is a little more straightforward? I mean, to me, it makes more sense what you do. I mean, I'm never going to really use my bachelor's degree, and I could have saved time just maybe taking the prerequisite classes and then going to dental school. That could have been 2 years of college and then go to dental school or something like that.
Right. So I can only speak to the system that we have in Ghana, because that's where I'm from. I'm not really familiar with like other country systems. But you know, if you look at it comparatively, I think the system in the US is, to me, I think it's more comprehensive in that, you know, you do your first degree, your first bachelor's, and it's going to give you time. Is dentistry what you really want to do? You know, when you're applying to your regular DMD program, I think they're going to look out for other extracurricular activities and, you know, things that generally make you present yourself as someone who really wants to do dentistry. So, you know, you write this whole statement of purpose thing and, you know, the whole application. I think you write a DAT. I think, So in Ghana, we don't do that. You just, you know, pick whatever program that you want to do and then you just start. So when we're starting, nobody really has insight into what you're going to do. We only learn about, you know, how exactly it is when we have already started the program. And You know, there are a lot of people who are like, okay, so I didn't know the program was going to be like this, or I didn't know, I have never, you know, been to a dental office in my life, you know, prior to starting the program and everything, and it's like learning on the job. So, I mean, when you put it side by side, I think, in my opinion, I think the system in the U.S. is probably better than, you know, than the system that we are used to in Ghana.
I mean, like, yeah, what you say makes sense in the sense of, like, I mean, when I was 18, about to go to college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So to have to make a decision like that, and then maybe you decide 3 years in, like, maybe this isn't what I want to do, and then you got to kind of change what you're doing. Because, I mean, at 18, probably only 50% of people really know what they want to do. And you might just think you know, and then you get into it and you're not sure. So it makes sense. So I guess to piggyback off of that before we get into the next question, what made you decide when you were in Ghana, like, I'm going to go into dental school, pursue dentistry? I mean, of course, you ended up liking it because you came here and did the same thing, but what was your thought about it, and why did you decide, like, yeah, I'm gonna go for dental school after high school?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was something that I always wanted to do, because my first encounter with a dentist was when I was like a child. I think I was about 5 years old or so. That was the first time that I ever went to a dental office. I still remember the smell, you know, of Eugenol, you know, like I think they had freshly made like zinc oxide or something, so I still remember the smell pretty well. And I never got to see my dentist's face because he had a mask on and everything, but I was just, I think I was just blown away by everything that was over there, you know, the fact that I was in pain, and within like a matter of minutes, like the pain was like subsiding and everything. I remember he gave me a shot, you know, of local anesthetic, and I couldn't feel my lip. I was like, I was pinching it. I was trying to feel it, but I couldn't feel it. But anyway, so it sort of like opened my mind to the possibility of also being a dentist, I think. So that's when I started looking into it. And by the time that I got to high school, I knew exactly that I was going to probably go onto that part. And I also like photography and stuff, so I sort of like, every time that I read anything about dentistry, they always talked about the aesthetic part, you know, and it was something I was really passionate about. So for me, it was like natural to, you know, lean towards that direction. Plus, I had someone that I was looking up to, sort of like a mentor or so, and he was already in dental school by then. So it was a pretty easy decision for me to just follow in his footsteps, to just go to the same school and then pursue dentistry.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. So when you came from Ghana to the U.S., where in the U.S. did you originally go?
Yeah, so I originally went to Oregon, Portland, Oregon, and that is where I still live. I'm only here for school, but I still live in Portland, Oregon. And when you got there, were you doing like dental work there, like assisting or working? What were you able to do as soon as you got to the United States without doing the DMD program? Right, so the hardest part of this whole thing, I think, is like trying to figure out what you can do with your whatever degree, whatever dental degree that you're coming from, whatever dental degree that you're coming into the country with. Because you get into the United States and you cannot practice as a dentist. In some states, you cannot even practice as a dental assistant. I know some states like Florida, you know, they're going to allow you to do maybe dental hygiene work or something. But I was kind of like fortunate, because in Oregon, you don't have to go to dental assistant school to be a dental assistant. So that was what I was more inclined to do, since it was in line with what I already am as a dentist. So I went into doing dental assistant. I did dental assistant for about a year, and I didn't even have to go to any assistant school or anything of the sort. I just had to do the radiology exam, and then that was enough for me to work as an assistant in Portland.
And so you moved here in 2022?
2022 December.
Okay, so you did that for a year, and then you decided, okay, I want to practice as a dentist here, or you came here knowing you wanted to?
I came here knowing that this was the route that I was going to take.
So like during that year, you were kind of like figuring out what's the next step. Like, how do you get to the point where you can start practicing as a dentist?
So honestly, I already knew that I was probably going to come here in the future, and I had already planned on how I was going to do that. So I did the INBDE exam in 2022, actually, because I knew that I was going to come here, right? So there are a couple of things that I did beforehand, even before that I got here. It's like that when I got here, I just got the ball rolling.
Cool. So you mentioned when you got here, like you started thinking about, okay, I gotta sit for the INDBE, I gotta do this and that so that I can apply because I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
So what is that process like to get ready to apply for advanced standing programs? And I know everywhere it isn't called advanced standing, but international programs.
International program. Yeah. So basically, you have to have an idea of exactly what the requirements are. So that is where it starts from. You know, you cannot start a project until you know like how it's gonna go and how you're gonna prepare for it. So what I did in my case was that I looked at a lot of schools and then their requirements. So a lot of the mistakes that a lot international dentists make is that we presume that all of the schools have the same kind of requirements, and once you meet that requirement, you're going to be accepted into any school. And that is simply not true. So every school has their own requirements, and you have to go to each school that you want to go to and then see the kind of requirements that they have, and then you're going to position yourself in a place where if you meet those requirements, then you will apply, right?
Okay.
So in general, there are a couple of things that you should have regardless of wherever you want to go. So you have to do the INBDE exam. That's probably going to be the first one because it's a requirement before you can even apply.
Yeah.
And then, well, I know some places that you can apply and then do it later. Yeah, but ultimately you still have to do it, right? And you have to do the TOEFL exam. That's going to be the English exam for anyone who is from another place that is not the U.S. Not the U.S. and maybe not Canada, maybe not the U.K. There are a couple of countries that get exemption.
Okay.
But if you're from Africa like me, you're going to have to write the TOEFL exam. And usually they're looking for a score somewhere around 100, so it's over a 120.
Okay.
So anything above 100 is going to make you competitive, right? Yeah. And then you're going to have to get your transcripts evaluated. So basically what that entails is that there are two companies, main companies that do that. So we have ECE and WES. So most of the schools prefer ECE, at least according to the research that I did, they prefer the ECE. So if you do ECE, you're good. You can do WES too. It really depends on the kind of school that you're going to. So I had those three locked down: the INBDE, the TOEFL exam, and then my ECE transcript evaluation.
And you would say that's like a general baseline.
That's
no
like
matter
the general.
Where you want to
that's
go,
like
you
the
should
general.
do that.
Yeah, that's like the general baseline. Of course, there are other things where if you volunteer in the United States, you're gonna get like credit for that. If you have done any sort of like dental assisting work, or if you've worked in a dental facility, anything that sort of like exposes you to American dentistry is gonna give you certain like points. It's gonna help you out. So. But those other things are like very school specific, so you gotta go to the school website and check like what else do they require from me apart from these basic stuff. Yeah. And then you put yourself in that position to get accepted. Okay.
And for the people that are watching, I apologize that I'm not looking at the camera, but I'm genuinely learning. Like as you're speaking, I'm learning, so I'm truly just interested in what you're saying. So to go off of that, I guess. You mentioned that when you got here, you knew that you were going to come here. When you say here, you mean Boston University?
Yeah, Boston University, yes. And Advanced Standing, yes. Even more, yeah.
So I guess my next question is what drew you specifically to Boston University? I know that at least the last time I checked, we have the largest advanced standing program in the United States. Is there something that you looked at and you were like, I want to go to that school? Because Oregon is far.
Yeah, Oregon is all the way on the other side. Yeah, so my relationship with Boston University is kind of funny because I remember when I first got into Instagram, you know when you get into a social media platform and they're like suggesting, people or organizations to follow? Yeah. Believe it or not, Boston University was one of the first that was suggested to me. Wow. And I don't even know why, but... So I was kind of like, I have been following BU for some time, so when it came to advanced standing, I was like, I'm just going to BU, like I don't have like a real solid reason like, oh, BU is this or BU is that, but I just had that natural kind of like love for the school for a very long time. So for me, if you ask me for a specific reason, that's probably going to be my reason.
It was the first thing that you saw and you're like, I like what they look like.
Of course, I mean, they offer like other things, you mentioned that they have like the largest advanced standing class in the university. And I mean, if you apply to a school that has like a large class, the likelihood of you getting in is probably going to be higher than applying to a school that takes like 8 people, so it only makes sense that, you go that route. Also, BU does not offer bench tests. For, I don't know if you know about it, but bench test is like, you know how when you're doing your CDC exam and you're required to like prep for crowns and stuff. So a bank test is like something similar, but it's used to screen students or prospective students to an advanced dining program. So you even do it before you get accepted or not, and it's part of the interview process.
Wow. Okay.
And so if your hand skills is not really at that level yet, it's gonna be hard for you to enter with like a good bank test score.
Okay.
So but BU doesn't even offer it. So I mean, it's
one
kind of
less
like
thing one
less thing I have to worry about.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, to graduate, you got to take CDCA just like us and all that stuff. So that makes sense. Okay. Quick intermission to the video. If you're watching the video and you've made it this far and you're enjoying the content, please drop a like on the video. It's right here under the video. Just click the little thumbs up button. It's of no cost to you, and it does so much to help boost the video and the channel in the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So we talked a little bit about why you wanted to come to BU, and I think in general, the idea that I get is it's competitive to apply to AS programs in general. So how many programs did you end up applying to, and just how competitive would you say it is in general to apply to international programs in the United States?
Yeah, so I personally I applied to 5 universities during the cycle. How competitive it is, I think let me use BU as an example. So we are 100 in a class right now, and I am told the dean during our matriculation told us that there are about 2,500 to about 3,000 people. so you can do the math. I mean, okay. So you can do the math.
2,500 to 3,000 applicants and 100 people that end up coming here. Okay. Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm sure that this 2,500, there's still probably a large amount of people that are applying to other schools the way you did. Yeah. And the other schools, like you said, may have 8 spots or 10 spots. I know Tufts has like maybe 30 or something like that.
30, 35-ish.
Yeah, and like I know some people, I have, like where I'm going to residency, Indiana, I think like they have like 8 or 7 or 8 or something like that. So yeah, that's competitive.
That's competitive. that's really competitive. And one of the things that I also like about BU is like the program is just 2 years. Some of these other programs are like 2.5 years or 3 years. The more you stay in, the more student loans you're gonna have to take.
Hey, preach it to the choir, bro.
So I mean, that's what even makes it more likely that people want to come here because of all of these things,
Yeah.
So and every time that a year goes by, people who did not get in are also gonna apply with like fresh students or fresh doctors or dentists or whatever. So that's what's even gonna make it more competitive. So I applied to about 5 universities. I got interviews in 3 of them.
Okay.
BU was the first to actually get back to me after the interviews. Once I decided that I was going to come here and I accepted it, I did not go for the interviews again.
Hey, that's more money. Once you know you're coming here, you don't gotta travel other places. Or some places might have still been doing Zoom interviews, but you got money to travel there, hotel, you gotta all that stuff. So I don't blame you. I did the same thing. Like once I decided I was coming to BU, I got probably 4 more interviews, and I was like during the pandemic when I applied to dental school, so everything was on Zoom, but they wanted me to interview on Zoom on a Friday night. I'm like, nah. Like, what's the point?
And a lot of people also don't know that once you get sort of like an acceptance, you're gonna have to pay for your seat.
Yeah, you gotta pay a deposit.
Pay a deposit, and that's gonna be around like 3,000.
Yeah, ours was 3,000.
Yeah, so I mean, if you make that commitment, you're gonna.
I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah, that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
So.
Because like when it comes to DMD applicants, like some people come from money, their parents are dentists, whatever it is, they'll pay the deposit at multiple schools because they can't decide yet, and they'll just BU probably has one of the more expensive deposits. I know other people tell me theirs is like 1,000 or 500, and they might pay 1,000 at 3 different schools. But I paid 3,000 here. I'm coming. Don't worry about it. I'm coming.
That's it.
Yeah, because it's non-refundable. You don't get it back. You know? So I know that applying to BU specifically for advanced standing is a little bit different than the DMD in the sense that when you apply for DMD, the first day they can let you know you got in is December 15th. And you might interview in September or whenever. But for AS, they can tell you whenever that you got in, right? So what is the application timeline like for BU specifically?
Right. So generally for all of the, so let me just say that there are about 40 schools that participate in CAAPID. So CAAPID is like a centralized application portal where you go and put in one application and you just like select schools, right? And your application is going to go to all of these schools and everybody's going to look at your application and they're going to decide whether they're going to give you an interview or not. So CAAPID opened somewhere in March.
Okay.
Yeah, so for anyone who is planning on, you know, going into advanced standing, by March you should be like ready with everything, that all of the preparation. You should be pretty much ready.
Yeah.
You put in your application somewhere mid-March, and then anywhere from April they're going to start sending out invitations. The reason why that happens is that a lot of schools do what we call a rolling, they do rolling admission. So what that means is that first come, sort of like first come, first serve.
Yeah.
The first person who puts in the application is going to have the application look first, you know, than someone who puts in the application later. So we usually advise people to, you know, do it as early as possible to get a higher chance of being, you know, selected. So BU specifically does it anywhere from March, the time that is open, till about December. So that is when usually the period that they do their interviews. I know a lot of schools do, they have their deadline somewhere in June, July, and that's when they're done. So after that, you cannot submit any application or anything of the sort. But BU does it like the whole of the year, kind of. So, I mean, you could send your application anytime and be called for an interview anytime, basically. So, yeah.
Right. But the earlier you do it,
the earlier you do it, certainly the better.
Yeah. Got it. So, as an advanced standing applicant, you touched a little bit on it earlier that, like, for some schools, the more dental assisting or maybe working as hygiene if you're in Florida or whatever, the more dental experience you get makes you a more competitive applicant, right? And I'm assuming that since they do this like transcript thing with the ECE and stuff, like your grades from dental school when you were in Ghana matter as well. The INDBE is pass-fail, so I'm guessing they don't really consider that in competitiveness, but like a 100 or more TOEFL score, things like that. Is there anything else that you would say makes you a very competitive applicant for an international program? Yeah,
so I'm just going to give sort of like general pointers. So you mentioned the INDBE is a pass or a fail. I know somewhere in the middle of the year they actually put scores there. Now I don't know if the schools actually see the scores, but generally it's a pass or a fail thing, right? The other general thing that's probably going to make you competitive is going to be if you have done any sort of volunteering work in the United States. And I think I already mentioned that. So if you have done that, I think that is going to put you in a better position. Of course, I'm not in admissions, so I'm not going to sit here and say that
every time.
That is it.
We're not admissions officers, but these are just, you know, what we did,
what we
did,
and what we got in. And when you talk with your other classmates, you sort of like see a similar theme going on. Everybody did this, or majority did this, majority did that, and so you're going to be able to, you know, make a conclusion that probably that is what is contributing to it. So what I noticed in my class specifically is that they have a ton of clinical experience. Everybody that I've spoken to has like a ton of clinical experience, whether being a dentist for a long time in their home country or being some sort of dental auxiliary in the United States. Of course, there are like a couple of people who are like outliers, but generally, I just noticed that majority of people have sort of like some dental years. Obviously. If you have some kind of experience or a lot of experience, you're probably in a good place to apply to BU specifically. I know there are like other universities that put a lot of emphasis on if you've done a master's program or not. I don't think BU is one of those universities, just because it's really fast paced here, and you have to already know something, you know.
Man, let me tell you something,
to be here.
As somebody who's been in the DMD program, I don't know how y'all do it.
It's crazy, trust me.
I don't know how y'all do it. I mean, like, they're doing 2 years and they're doing everything that we do.
Yeah.
I think the only thing they skip is maybe like the basic sciences in first year, but y'all are doing everything that we do in 3 years in 2 years.
Yeah, spot on.
And y'all have the same requirements to graduate in clinic.
Yeah.
And we get a whole year in clinic where we don't have class. Y'all don't get that.
We don't get that.
Like, y'all are doing the same amount of work that we do in less time with the same amount of classes in the same year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And like, you got to be ready to take on something like that. Like, y'all are here all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is more than a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you know, there's people that do it and they have families, they have whatever, but it's like, if you're going to come to BU and be in the advanced standing program, you got to be ready to work.
You got to be ready to work. And, you know, a lot of people, they have their SOPs and they write, oh, I am resilient. I work under pressure. You're going to be tested. You're really going to be tested here.
Like, bro, I can't, like, if you think a 4-year DMD program is hard, you try their program. I don't think I could do it. Honestly, that's just me being honest. I see the work that y'all put in day in and day out every day for 2 years straight. My hair would be falling out, and man.
Yeah, if you don't have family here, like I have my family in Portland, Oregon, so that means that I have to be going like ever so often, you know, because. It is what it is.
yeah. I mean, like, life doesn't stop just because you're in dental school.
Yeah,
man. It's brutal. We basically touched on a lot of the stuff about, like, applying to advanced standing programs, when you want to do it, the timeline to do it, etc. So now that you're in the program, we just went on a little spiel about how it is and how tough it is, but from your first, I guess it's now 10 months?
Yeah, 10-ish
10-ish months. What has your experience been like so far?
It has been crazy. That's gonna be the only word that describes everything, you know, because we came in knowing that it's gonna be hard, but we didn't think that was gonna be this hard.
I feel like you guys' program is something that you can't explain to someone how hard it is. Like, you just got to get in and experience it, and you're like, oh. Like, you come to the admissions visits day or whatever it is, and they're telling you, and you're like, okay, cool. And then you get here, you're like, oh.
Yeah. The funny thing is that we were actually warned, like, not warned, but we were told that BU has, like, the hardest curriculum for AS.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh, yeah, like, yeah, it's one of those things that they say. Every school says it. But, yeah, I mean, it's been hard, but I have really come to enjoy it. You know, there are about 30 different nationalities in my class. And it's pretty nice, you know, trying to get knowledge or wisdom from every person. First of all, you're gonna be able to relate to every other person from any country that you meet, you know, because you've had interactions with different people. You know a little bit about every person's culture. So that's really something that I've really learned, something that I've really appreciated. BU specifically, it offers like a lot of things. There is a ton of tech at our simulation center, you know, cutting edge technology and everything, and it really sort of like, especially from where that I'm coming from, where I wasn't like privy to a lot of these things. I have really come to appreciate, you know, modern dentistry, how it's being done here. And sometimes I think back, there was another guy from Ghana in my class. Shout out to you, Chris.
Shout out Chris.
Utica wanted a shout out. Utica, shout out to you too. She follows your YouTube. She just said I should give her a shout out. So I thought shout out to Utica. Shout out to Utica. She's from South Africa. Okay. Yeah, so we have a lot of nationalities, as I said. The technology, the faculty, they're super nice. They're like the nicest faculty that I mean, I haven't been to a lot of universities, but comparatively to where I'm coming from, the faculty is really nice. Faculty there is really nice. So I'm actually enjoying it, you know, even though it's taking a lot of time and energy, effort and everything, but I still really enjoy it here. Yeah, like the community is nice. Everyone is friendly to each other. We help each other out. Like, being here is nice community wise, and you know, you guys, us included, like, we all kind of trauma bond together. We're all going through that struggle. So, you know, just like you said with your classmates, like, you all are coming from different walks of life. You got people in your class that are
20, 30 years older than you.
Yeah.
They're from halfway across the world, somewhere you've never been or maybe never even heard of, but you find something that you can relate to. You guys are all trying to accomplish the same goal, coming from where you are to being here and trying to be a dentist. You know? So that's definitely a nice part about BU. And I mean, me personally, like, I feel very supported here at this school. I feel like they make great dentists. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way, even though in the thick of it, you're always working, and it feels like it's never going to end. But I mean, I was feeling like that one day, and now I'm 30-something days away, you know? So now that we talked about all that, I was wondering, what do you plan on doing after you graduate? Like, going back to Portland, working as a general dentist? Like, do you have aspirations of opening your own practice? Or, like, what did you kind of come into school with the goal of doing when you leave here?
Yeah, so I wish that I could give a definitive answer for that, but honestly, I'm still trying to, you know, figure out and weigh my options, you know. If I want to do a residency program, I haven't really. I started ortho. It's pretty cool. So I've thought about ortho. I mean, there are a lot of programs that I've thought about, but I haven't really decided yet. Part of the reason is that I'm gonna go back to Oregon, Portland, and I'm trying to look at the programs there because I don't want to spend my residency years outside of my family, like outside of home. That's I think the 2 years is enough. I don't.
You came here on a mission. You finish the mission. You go back.
I bounce back. But so that is part of the reasons why I haven't really decided. But residency programs are also accessible to advanced standing programs, just as it is accessible to like your DMD or your DDS regular students. So advanced standing students also have, you know, the opportunity to apply for residencies after school and, you know, get on that track. So programs like, say, AGD or GPR, advanced standing students don't typically go that route because it's like we already have the experience, right? So we just need like the diploma to be able to practice
some credentials,
credentials to be able to practice in the United States. So typically, you have advanced standing students who are already like specialists from their countries, right? So I feel like anybody who wants to pursue a residency after advanced standing probably is not like a specialist from where they're coming from. You know, I mean, if you're a specialist, you can still do another specialty. It doesn't change anything. But personally, for me, I'm probably gonna maybe I'm gonna work for a year or so. I'm probably gonna take a break. You know,
just like think about
what I want to do. If I want to do residency, if I want to focus on something else, if I want to come back, I mean. And BU is open. If I want to come back, I can come back here or just, you know, go to somewhere else.
I think that's also like something that you mentioned that's pretty interesting is like people come from their country. I remember, this is such a funny story because I think about it all the time. I remember my first year in clinic when I was a D3. There was someone in my group practice. He was AS2 in my group practice. And I was in clinic one day, and he was super nervous to do a crown prep. And all I could think to myself, I was like, but he was a dentist before this. Like, why is he so nervous? He's like, in my country, I'm an orthodontist. I haven't done a crown prep on a real person since dental school, which was 15 years ago for him. So it's like some people, you know, they think that you guys come in and it's like you should just automatically be good at everything because you already are a dentist in your home country. When in reality, for some people, they haven't done certain things in 20 plus years because when they graduated dental school, they just did ortho or they just did oral surgery or they didn't really do crowns like that in their practice. So it's different. Like, you know, there's a lot of assumptions that people make about advanced standing just from not knowing or just from ignorance, you know. And I think that that's something that benefits us as DMD students is having you guys here is that we learn a lot from you guys because you guys have been through it before and you do have knowledge and experience that we don't have. And in other countries, they teach you how to do things a little differently, some things. And I learned quickly in clinic from other AS students that BU teaches you one way, but that doesn't mean it's the only way, or that doesn't even necessarily mean it's the best way or the quickest way. So having an advanced standing program at your school is very beneficial as a DMD student because it adds so much more to your education. There's so much that I've learned from AS students just from listening to the way that they do things, and they're like, yes, I know Dr. Schnell taught you to do this, but you know you could just do this, and you're like, wow, why are we learning it this way? You know, but so it's nice. Like, people underestimate the value that an advanced standing program at your school brings to the school as a whole. And I mean, I commend you guys for all the work that you're doing here and all that you can contribute to the school. Like, I think the school would be a lot different if we didn't have an AS program. You know?
Yeah, so that's the beauty about dentistry. You know, you can be doing things in a certain way, and you're gonna meet someone who does it in a totally different way. Yeah, and the beauty is like learning from that person, just so you improve yourself. You know, because now you have like different arsenal that you can pull out from and shoot. So it makes you a better person, you know, to link up with like different dentists, you know, regardless of wherever they did their education from, and just learn from them. You know, just listen to them, learn from them, see how you're doing stuff. You compare it to yours. Is it better? Does it make me a better dentist? And yeah, that's just the whole beauty of you know, that community, you know, from different places around the world.
For sure. That pretty much concludes most of the video. I just wanted to see if you had any closing remarks, any advice for someone out there that's looking to apply to AS programs or looking to get into maybe BU specifically. Any advice that you would just give the general AS applicant?
Right. So for the general AS applicant, the first thing that I'm going to say is, you know, do a lot of research. Go to the school's website, look at exactly what their requirements are, and try to meet it, right? So if there are like certain things that you don't meet, try to put yourself in a place where you are able to meet those, and that's what's going to make you competitive. I know a lot of people place a lot of emphasis on passing the INBDE and the TOEFL, and then they think that that's it, you know, I should be able to get into schools. But think about the example that I just gave. Like, BU has about 2,500 to about 3,000 students fighting for just 100 spots. What's going to make you stand out? What's going to make you that unique person who's going to get in, get an interview, and then get in? So those are going to be the extra, what we call the X factors, that's going to, you know, make you a better candidate, a competitive, you know, candidate. So, you know, speak to other students in the AS program. Connect with people who are already in the AS program. Listen to them, draw from their wisdom, you know, their direction and everything, and you're gonna be in a good place to apply for the AS program. Yeah, and I know there are people who have like applied a couple of years, you know, different cycles, and they're not getting in. I'm gonna say don't lose hope. You know, just tweak your application. There's probably something in it that's blocking you from getting interviews. If that's the correct word to use, but yeah, try to tweak your application, make yourself better each year that you apply, and definitely nobody's gonna tell you no forever. Somebody's definitely gonna say yes at some point. Yeah, so, yeah, don't give up. Yeah,
I mean, like, I think general advice for a DMD student that would probably carry over for AS applicants as well is, if you are in the situation where you've been applying and applying, or even if you've only applied once and you got denied, you should be reaching out to the schools you applied to and asking them, what should I be changing about my application? How can I make myself better? Because you don't want to apply and then, okay, well, I'll just work for another year and apply again, because your clinical experience might not be the issue in the application. They may tell you, well, your TOEFL score is just a little too low. We like it at this point. Now you know that you could have been spending that whole year studying to retake the TOEFL or something like that. So, of course, like, yes, tweak your application, but don't try to tweak it blindly. Go in there with an idea of what you need to tweak and how you can make yourself a better applicant. And so, yeah, you also mentioned, like, reach out to AS students, reach out to people at schools that you're interested in that could give you some concrete information. I know a lot of people reach out to me, but I'm not an AS student. I literally learned so much just from sitting here listening to you talk for a couple minutes that it's like, I can only answer but so many questions. I knew what the TOEFL was, but I didn't even know what a good score was. You know what I mean? So, if you feel comfortable, like, how can people contact you if they have questions about the AS program at BU, or maybe they just want advice on what they should be doing to try to be a better applicant?
Right. So I'm gonna give my socials out, but I want to also state that for me specifically, when I was coming to do the advanced standing application, there was a group that I also reached out to, and they were like a ton of help. So they're called global waves, if I'm allowed to mention it.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah,
global waves, you're going to have to pay me. But, no, I'm joking. Yeah, please,
so
shout them out.
So they're called global waves. They have a wonderful, group of leaders, and they were able to, set me up with people who I didn't know anybody in BU specifically, that I could reach out to. But once I reached out to Global Waves, they were able to link me to someone who was in BU at some point.
Okay.
And she, run me through how the interview is gonna go and the pointers and everything. So I'm giving Global Waves a shout out. So,
yeah.
They're
Shout out to Global Waves.
They were like really helpful.
So they're like a mentorship kind of program.
They're like a
mentorship.
Yeah. So they're like a mentorship program. So you sign up and then they're gonna match you to a mentor who's gonna like take you through. It's gonna read your SOP for you, gonna basically read your application for you.
So I guess you have to pay for it.
You don't have to pay for it. That's the nice part.
So it's free.
Yes.
That's crazy. I mean,
it is free at this moment. I don't know if they're gonna pay. But
that's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah.
See, how it runs is by paying forward. So I went through it and I benefited. So I am part of it to pay forward.
To be a mentor for someone else.
Be a mentor for someone else. So so that's Global Waves.
So how can they find? Can they just Google Global Waves?
They can just Google Global Waves, go to their website, and sign up, and then that's gonna be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
Personal, my social, Instagram. You're only probably gonna reach me on Instagram, and that's kwame.ie. That's my social. That's my handle on Instagram. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Well, Ofori, I appreciate you for doing this video. Like, this video has been long awaited. A lot of people need information on AS programs, how to apply, what they should be doing, etc. So hopefully someone got something out of this video. If anything, they got the information on Global Waves, and they can leave you alone and just, they'll find you through Global Waves anyway, right? So appreciate you so much, man. Thank you so much for doing this video. If you watched all the way through this video, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video, all right?
All right.
Peace, y'all. Alright, thank you everyone who stuck around and watched the video all the way to the end. I very much appreciate it. Hopefully this video served as an informational video for those who are interested in the AS program at BU or just applying to international programs in the United States in general. Please make sure you check out some of the other videos on my channel. I make dental school vlogs and videos with advice for people who are trying to get into dental school. And leave a comment if you want to see a day in the life of an AS student at BU. I think that would be a pretty cool video to make after this one. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.